Hi folks, join me and Hai for a thrilling journey to these exotic cities that sprouted along the fabled Silk Road. Mystical cities that many people don't even hear about, to include ourselves. And so the reason for us to undertake this journey to satisfy our curiosity. We are not travel adventurers, but we think of ourselves as curious travelers. To our surprise, it turned out to be an exciting trip back in time into the treasures of world cultural heritage. So here's another glimpse of the world. The Silk Road is not an actual road, but a network of land trade routes or pathways by merchants carrying goods between East Asia and Europe. When the Han Dynasty of China crossed Central Asia some 1,400 years ago, it started the fabled Silk Road. Xi'an City was the capital of ancient China at that time, and so the Silk Road starts here. This is therefore the first city we will journey before traveling to Central Asia. I apologize for the poor quality of the images because of the extreme haziness from the smog and heavy air pollution in this ancient industrialized city. Xi'an is an old city often called the birthplace of Chinese civilization. It is one of the 4 oldest cities in the world that includes Cairo, Athens, and Rome. City walls or fortification of Xi'an is a fortified high wall around the city built in 1370 during the Ming Dynasty, one of the largest military defensive systems in the world. It is the best preserved and largest existing ancient city wall, measuring 12 meters high and 13.7 kilometers long. It is the most complete city wall that has survived in China. Xi'an Museum is a free museum located in the pleasant grounds of the Jianfo Temple, featuring jade exhibits and over 300,000 relics unearthed in Xi'an.
Now we're going to the side of the terracotta warriors, all the way up there. Okay, we're inside the terracotta diggings, and behind me is the Chinese guide that is driving it.
Sorry, we had competition there from the Chinese guide. This terracotta army warriors and horses is a large collection of life-size clay sculptures buried and forgotten for over 2,000 years. It is a form of funerary art buried with the emperor when he died in 210 BC with the purpose of protecting him in his afterlife. It is an astonishing sight, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
15 minutes.
No, 10 minutes.
So indeed, let's move on to Central Asia, represented by the 5 stans: Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. It is the crossroad linking between Eastern and Western civilization. For over 1,000 years, it was the center of the world. The first country in Central Asia we are visiting along the Silk Road is Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is a landlocked, mountainous country that has preserved its culture because of its isolation, though has played a role in the Silk Road commercial and cultural routes. Since its independence in 1991, it maintained a unitary parliamentary republic. Kyrgyzstan has beautiful alpine valley with snow-capped mountain peaks and flowered meadows that it has been called Switzerland of Central Asia.
When only, for example, only the top of the hay can be wet, in the middle side hay will be really good.
Kyrgyzstan is heavily dependent on agricultural economy with cotton, wool and meat as the main agricultural products, which explains the many livestock you see in the countryside and on the road. As you can see here, our driver is exasperated and has to stop and get out of the car to smoke and calm his nerves. This old Silk Road is no longer rugged and dusty, but well paved. The camels and the caravans of merchants of ancient times that used to ply these roads is now replaced by large cargo trucks, and farmers have taken advantage of the convenience of using these paved roads to bring their livestock to other grazing grounds or to the market. Now that the road has cleared, we are on our way east to the Issyk Lake, a popular resort. We had the opportunity to witness a Western wedding of locals on the park grounds. Next, we visited a village in Karakol and watched how they gathered their cattle and other livestock just before sundown. Well, we have crossed the border and here we are in Kazakhstan. Let us stop by the Charin Canyon and enjoy its breathtaking view. Charin Canyon is about 120 miles east of Almaty where we are going, and it is close to the Chinese border. It is 90 kilometers long and some 300 meters deep in some places. Through the years, erosions has created dramatic and colorful rock formations of various shapes and sizes. It seems to be as impressive as the US Grand Canyon, though on a smaller scale. It's time to go, but first let us have a picnic at the Kazakh desert in mid-afternoon before driving west to Almaty. Almaty is a very cosmopolitan city with a population of 2.8 million. It is the largest city in this former capital of Kazakhstan. It is the ninth most populated city in the world. Kazakhstan is the most powerful economically in Central Asia, and Almaty is the financial center. Let's move on to Tajikistan, a mountainous landlocked country. Tajiks are defined by their Persian language and heritage more than any shared ethnic traits in the region. Khojan, the second largest city, once conquered by Alexander the Great and made it his easternmost military outpost. He married the conquered Sogdian chief's daughter, Roxanne, and is recorded in the museum. We will drive south on a rugged, dusty mountain road to Istarabzan, crossing the Saravzan River. We will stop by the roadside to give our driver a rest and have a soft drink cooled by the cold mountain spring water trickling from the mountainside, as you can see. As you can see from our animated map, we have reached Istarabzan and we are on a hilltop overlooking the ancient city of Istarabzan, then surveyed and mingled with the people in the market.
This is good when it's still hot.
Istarabzan has an impressive history that dates back to 2,500 years. It is one of the oldest cities in all of Central Asia, once an important trading center especially for arts and crafts on the Great Silk Road. They're also noted for their iron and metal works. Take a look. It is a rough ride on a rugged, bumpy, dusty mountain road to Penjiket city. It used to be an important town during the Great Silk Road years as it was strategically located as a last stop on the way to other cities. This is an archaeological site of the ancient city of Sarasem, located 50 kilometers west of Penjiket. It is an ancient town dating back to 4000 BC, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Archaeologists are still actively excavating the area. Let's cross the border to Turkmenistan, then drive westward to Merv, or the city of Mary, crossing the Karakum Desert. The ancient city of Merv or Mary is a famous Silk Road oasis, one of the largest cities in the world in ancient times, before it was plundered by Genghis Khan and his Mongol horde. Gone are the days when the Silk Road was unpaved, bumpy and dusty. It is now replaced by long stretches of paved roads. The camels, horses, donkeys, and caravans that used to ply this network of roads is now replaced by huge cargo trucks and even trains. The ancient lost city of Merv is a large archaeological site, about 8 hectares, is the most complex urban archaeological remains in the world, which includes remains of the Bronze Age from 2500 to 1200 BC, and also the Iron Age from 1200 BC to 300 BC, is now listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1999. The city of Mary was formerly known as the city of Merv, a city on an oasis in the Karakum Desert located by the Mograv River on the Silk Road, with a population of 123,000. They have a booming economy based on their cotton industry and huge natural gas reserves.
Bakışı maya bakışlı, çöküşü iner çöküşlü, mayaları boşar kışla, buraları canlı gelin, kumlu gelin, buraları canlı gelin.
Ashgabat is the most unusual city we have visited around the world, though there is no question that it is a beautiful city, that it had been called the City of White Marble. But it is rather odd that even with a population of over 1 million, the city appears deserted.
Yeah, it's a special program.
This contrast with the white building.
Exactly.
You have subway here?
Ashgabat means a city of love, but it looks more like a city of the dead. The streets and parks are empty except for policemen and clean-up workers. Since its independence in 1991, the first president and his successor have run a totalitarian police state promoting their own personality cult.
Kellefini elvan yanım, keştelenen yenli gelin,
11 miles west of Ashgabat is this archaeological site of ruins of Nisa or Parthian ancient settlement, predecessor of Iranian civilization from the 3rd century BC to the 3rd century AD.
şapınlıktan devlet tapan, bir teretin gülü bakan.
Now let's go to the Konya-Orgensk archaeological site. The Konya-Orgensk archaeological site is the most important archaeological site in Turkmenistan. Contains many well-preserved monuments from the 11th century to the 16th century. It used to be a major trade center on the Silk Road until plundered by Genghis Khan in 1221 AD, and then again by Tamerlane in 1372. Finally abandoned in the 18th century, but remains undisturbed ever since, so now listed in the UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2005.
Şalşabalım intihari, karavdin emli gelin, gumli helin, karavdin.
The Kutluk Timur Minaret is the most prominent site in this archaeological area, reputed to be the tallest in Central Asia, if not in the world, where it was built sometime in the 13th century. This Muslim devotee uses a Qibla compass to guide him which direction to face during prayers, usually to the east facing Mecca, specifically the Kaaba in the sacred Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. According to Islamic belief, this direction was ordained by God in the Quran in chapter Al-Baqarah, verses 144, 149, 150. Now let's go to Dashugos. Dashugos, located in the northeast Turkmenistan, was a popular stop on the Silk Road because it had a spring. Dashugos means stone spring. This is a Russian-built city in the 19th century. The squat apartment buildings are reminiscent of Soviet times. It has a population of 200,000, and it is very near the Uzbekistan border, which is only 11 kilometers. Uzbekistan is the last Central Asian country we are visiting. As you can see from the animated map, we will be visiting the ancient cities of Khiva, Bukhara, Samarkand, and Tashkent. Tashkent is the most populous city in Central Asia with a population of 2.4 million as of 2019. It is an aged but modern city with a 2,200 years of written history. It is only 13 kilometers from its north border to Kazakhstan. Tashkent has been designated cultural capital of the Islamic world based on its many historic mosques and Islamic sites. The University of Tashkent holds the Samarkand Kufic Quran at its Hasta Iman Library, an 8th or 9th century Quran manuscript written in Iraq.
Jakarta. That's Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Samarkand, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Central Asia and at one time the most prosperous city along the Silk Road. The Registan Square is the heart of the ancient city of Samarkand, a public square with well-preserved traditions of ancient craft surrounded by monumental madrasas and mosques. Take a look.
Has been reconstructed, it became a little bit shorter. And of course there is no... possible.
All right.
Bazaars and market is the heart and soul of the Silk Road phenomenon, where villages and towns prospered in this trading post along the Silk Road. So it is but natural for us to stop at the bazaar to experience and feel the atmosphere within that reflects the culture, lifestyle, relations, wit, humor and bargaining, which is an essential process in bartering. With it goes the discussion of prices with jokes, dramatic expression to improve negotiations.
People say that when you're coming back, you're counting the same steps again, and then there's a number second time. Not the first time.
Bukhara is an old city being inhabited for 5 millennia. It is noted for its many religious monuments that it has been dubbed the most sacred city of Central Asia. This massive fortress was once occupied by the royal court that ruled Bukhara. Now it is a tourist attraction and houses the Bukhara State Museum. It encloses an area of 9.8 acres. The Kalyan Mosque is a prominent landmark in Bukhara which can hold 12,000 worshippers. The palace grounds has become a favorite place for entertainment, celebration, and reception, such as weddings.
Right? It's a fantastic...
Yeah. Hello.
Здравствуйте.
Wow.
And where it was, okay. So besides of these, they have a fantastic imagination about the pomegranate. Pomegranate you can find in the pictures. Pomegranate you can find on the fabrics. Pomegranate is a symbol of the life, of the family. That's why you will find everywhere pomegranates, everywhere. King, remember the names of dates and go for king to come and...
Khiva is an old city established around 1,500 years ago. It is supposedly the best well-preserved medieval city of Central Asia, but because there's a lot of restoration that it doesn't look authentic. Population is 90,000 and about 3,000 lives inside the city walls and the rest lives outside the city wall. Our hotel is inside the city wall. It is a fantastic view of the inner city as well as the outer city from atop the tower of the fortress and at the Islam Khoja minaret. The Palawan Mosque is popular for celebration such as weddings. Here we are witnessing a traditional procession and celebration called Tahara, a post-circumcision rites. This is a system of ritual purification in Islam, an act of purifying oneself from ritual impurity. Khitan, or male circumcision, is a form of ritual impurity, an essential aspect of Islam, to be considered a sign of belonging to the wider Muslim community.
ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين قل إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين.
Sıcak karasında.
After the rites, this is followed by special foods, music, and mass festivity. As the merriment goes on and the golden glow of sunset fades into the horizon, we say goodbye and hope that you enjoy this short pictorial journey back in time to the treasures of world cultural heritage in this crossroads of civilization.